This episode of the Resilient Retail Game Plan is brought to you by SumUp, the ideal payment provider for growing businesses like yours. SumUp's got payment solutions that work for everyone. From pocket-sized card readers to full-till setups, they've got you sorted. Multi-network connectivity means your devices stay online and never miss a sale. And with transparent pricing, there are no nasty surprises or hidden fees. Start building your setup and get 10% off SumUp hardware over on SumUp's online shop at sumup.co.uk with the code GAMEPLAN10. That's GAMEPLAN10. Valid till the 14th of February. If your business looks successful on paper but feels far harder than it should behind the scenes, then this episode is for you. Over the years, I've worked with hundreds of established product businesses, and the same 5 problems come up again and again. These are not beginner mistakes, but these are things that show up once you've got momentum and you've grown a business. Today, I want to talk you through those 5 issues and how I help founders fix them inside my Retail by Design program. Welcome to the Resilient Retail Game Plan. I'm Catherine Edley, and in the next few minutes, you're about to get powerful real-world retail strategies from insights shared both from my guests and myself, backed up by my 25 years in the retail industry. Keep listening to learn how to grow a thriving, profitable product business. Let's jump in with this latest episode. So the first issue that I see is people whose businesses are working, but they feel chaotic. What this looks like is constant reacting and firefighting. There's no breathing space to think strategically. They're making decisions under pressure and everything feels urgent. Now, interestingly enough, these businesses, they are often really, really fun, really driven business owners. And one of the things that's almost happened is that they've slightly become a victim of their own success. They've got loads and loads of really exciting projects going on. They're getting invited to lots of different things. They are getting lots of different opportunities to put their business out there or to collaborate with different people. And basically, they're generating a huge amount of interest and excitement. But whereas that is something that works really super well in the early days, once they get a bit bigger, it suddenly starts to feel really, really stressful. So in terms of what's really going on here, often I find that people who feel very chaotic, very stretched thin, chasing lots of different things, they have got no clear foundations generally in place to help them anchor decisions. And they've also just got more opportunities than they've actually got capacity to deliver on. So what we actually do, generally speaking, if someone comes to me and we're talking about lots and lots of exciting things, lots and lots of different opportunities, often what I encourage them to do is to really strip back all of the noise and to deep dive into what is actually happening. So, for example, we've probably all as business owners had an invite to an in-person networking event, or even to contribute to a podcast or do a collaboration with another business. And again, at the beginning, you are really trying to understand what works, who's already got a connection with your customer, and you're trying to do a lot of different things. You're trying lots of different product types. You're trying lots of different types of messaging. You might be trying lots of different social media platforms, for example. You're basically just doing everything you can to put your business out there and to really try and reach as many people as possible. But at a certain point, that desire, that need to push through and to get your business out in front of as many people as possible, that actually tips over from being something that is a benefit to being something that can start pulling you back or getting in the way. You can start becoming the bottleneck in the business because a lot of the time, these types of opportunities will rely on you as the founder. And then all of a sudden, the kind of day-to-day, the bread and butter of the business can start suffering. So when people come to me with this type of issue, what I suggest that we do is we sit down and we go over their numbers. We work out what is actually making a difference. So we would look at, for example, the most important sales channel. Where is most of your sales coming from? We'll look at which marketing activities are actually having the biggest impact. We will also have a look at if they've done collaborations. Another way I see this manifest itself is they're selling across, 10 different platforms, but yet probably of those, 7 or 8 even are just extra work. And so It's a question of going through, identifying essentially the fundamentals. Where are the sales? Where are the profits? Where do we need to lean into? And also, where can we pull back from? And I think one of the hardest parts about this is that we all have a belief that more is better. And that if you say no to an opportunity, that means that we're going to be missing out. But it's just really remembering that we are not going to be able to get everything done. So focus, identifying the key things in the business that we really need to be spending our time on can make a huge difference. And also in energizing you versus what's draining your attention. Sometimes as well, it's about identifying, okay, I want to do one thing like this a quarter, but I'm not going to be doing something like this every week. That's especially important if you are doing things to really boost your business profile. It can feel really hard to think, actually, am I going to be missing out if I don't do this? But then sometimes we have to look at what is it costing you to be constantly running around and not unprioritized. So a lot of the time with this, it's about getting your priorities right. The second reason people come to me is because they say things like, I don't really trust my numbers. Lots of people will say that they don't really like to look at their numbers. They don't really like spreadsheets. Sometimes people have come to me because they worked with somebody else who's created something for them, but they don't really understand it and they don't really understand how to work with it. Again, they might have an accountant who's told them some things, but they don't really know how to apply it to their business. So this can manifest itself in cash flow issues, turnover looking healthy, but cash feeling really tight, not understanding where it comes from. Stock can be something that they feel like they're really guessing with, and they're maybe not really sure which reports to look at, or maybe they're second guessing them and potentially making decisions based on instinct alone. In terms of what's really going on here, usually this is about the fact they've got access to data, but they don't really know, most importantly, the clear link between the data and the decisions. So there's no loop in their business that's allowing them to take a look at their numbers and then act on them. As I was talking about in the Retail Sales Game Plan in a session recently, the 3 R's. You want to record, you want to review, and you want to refine. So basically making sure that you're clear on what your numbers are, what they're telling you, and then you can take actions off the base of that. In terms of how I help, I am a big believer in meeting people where they are and finding ways that work for them. People often don't like certain styles of spreadsheets, or they need to see the information in a way that makes sense for them. So I will work with people to find, does it need to be more visual? Does it need to be a report that they can see on Shopify? Is it a spreadsheet that we've mapped out together? But the first thing that I will do is identify which numbers they really need to look at versus the noise that they can ignore, how to understand what's going on in the business quickly and easily, how to set goals so that they know what they're aiming for, and how to turn the information into action as opposed to feeling overwhelmed. So again, it is about honing in on the things that matter so that you can move forward. The third issue is that people often feel like they're busy all the time, but they're not moving forward. So this is really related, the same issue around the business feeling chaotic. Again, this can be about the fact that there are too many things going on. There could be too many products that they're trying to bring in. They're selling on too many different places. They're doing too many different marketing activities without understanding which one is really driving the business forward. But the other thing that I would look at in this particular case is where I'm busy all the time and not moving forward, is I actually will often get people to do time tracking. So there are plugins that you can use or a notebook. I will get them to map out their time for me, help me understand what it is that they're actually doing. And that is really, really beneficial for a few different reasons. First up, I work with quite a few people who are time restricted. So not everybody has a full 40-hour working week to devote to their business. I work with lots of people who have caring responsibilities, whether that's small children or other relatives. I have people who are working part-time, sometimes even full-time, or they just have certain snippets of time that they can work on the business. It's especially important if you've got restricted time to really understand how to use it effectively. So one of the things that I will do is I'll start by time tracking. I'll start understanding what it is that they're actually spending their time on. This also has the benefit of helping understand where they need to deprioritize, for example. Are they trying to do something that isn't actually impacting things? And then it also starts helping us map out where they might need more support. So what are they doing? What impact is that having on them personally? And therefore, what support do they need to bring in? One of the things that's really beneficial for that is helping people with just understanding what they can drop and what they can rearrange. Some people work really well with time blocking to say, I'm going to spend all Monday doing my marketing and Tuesday afternoon's going to be product development, whatever it might be. Some people absolutely cannot work like that. They just know that they're not going to do the time blocking. But there are other things that can be really beneficial in terms of checklists or things that they can go through to make sure that they're covering everything. In terms of actually working out whether or not what they're doing is worthwhile, it's also something that comes out of time tracking, understanding what it is that's taking up all of your time and how you can use that time more effectively. Issue number 4, I hear this all the time, is that everything sits in my head. I hear this so many times. It's such a common theme when I talk to people. They are unable to delegate as effectively as they'd like because they are the bottleneck for decisions. It feels really risky to delegate because they don't have clear processes. No one else is seeing the full picture. And then the emotional and mental load starts to feel really, really heavy because they're the only people who see the full thing. A lot of the time, this comes from that idea of what got me here isn't going to be what gets me there. And it's because when you first start out, you absolutely have to be scrappy. You have to be able to turn your hand to almost anything. You have to be able to wear lots of hats. It's a real mark of how people get to that first 6-figure stage is by just diving in, getting things done, and being able to, as I said, turn their hand to everything. Just make it all happen themselves until the business gets to the point where they then become the bottleneck. Everything's in their head. And if you went on holiday for a month, then the whole thing would fall apart. So often that's to do with just organic growth with no structure being put into place. This is something that I work with a lot of people on, and it's all about then starting to map out what's living in your head and what needs to come out of your head and get down on to some kind of documentation. It could be a Trello board. It could be laminated checklists for your team to make sure that they're all doing the same thing. It could be a series of tutorials that you video yourself doing on your computer so that you can start handing things off. But if you've got everything in your head, it can feel really, really overwhelming and it can be hard to know where to start. So one of the things that we do is we work out over the 6 months that we work together, how are you going to start handing various different pieces off? We do it piece by piece. We look at who can help you as well, because sometimes you're not the best person to create those training documents. Sometimes you want your team to start creating some training documents so you can see what they think they're doing, make sure that they're on the right path, but then also get the support so that you're not the one having to create absolutely everything from scratch. A lot of this is about putting into place some structure to help you move to that next level where you can actually take some time off, for example, and step away. For me personally, as a consultant, to be able to work with someone who's then able to take a 2-week holiday in August where they could never take time off before because they've put that structure in place, they've trained their team, they've got that all around them to support them, that is a hugely rewarding feeling. And for me, that is a real mark of success for the program. So I'm here to help as a strategic partner to help you really understand what you need to map out, work out and define what support is actually needed in your business, and help reduce that decision fatigue and second guessing. I've worked with a lot of people to help them, for example, recruit, bring in the right role, help them identify what that role is, what they need in the business, and also with the benefit of being able to help them model what they can support financially. Can you pay an additional wage for this type of support? And if you do decide to go ahead with that, what expectations you need to have on your sales increasing in order to cover that additional cost? So there's a lot of work that we can do there in order to get things straightened out and you as the founder to be carrying less in your head. Feeling overwhelmed, stuck in reaction mode and tired of winging it? Retail by Design is back and it is better than ever. This round includes done-for-you stock management built in. So if you've ever wanted someone to actually manage your stock properly while you focus on the big picture, this is the combination you've been waiting for. It's my 6-month one-to-one program for six-figure product founders ready to bring structure, strategy, and support to their business. It kicks off this month and spots are limited. So if you're serious about making this your best year yet, this is exactly what you need. Head to resilientretailclub.com and click on Retail by Design to book your call. The fifth issue that I hear is that people say this business doesn't fit my life anymore. I've fallen out of love with my business. Sometimes people will come to me and that will be the reason that they want to join Retail by Design is because they believe in the business, but something isn't right. They feel that they've had success, but somehow it is not sitting right with them. It feels misaligned or unsustainable. They may be even starting to feel a little bit trapped. Maybe they're starting to wonder, are they on the right path? And they would like to step back, have a look and think about, where do I want this to go? What's my 5-year vision? What am I actually trying to do with this business? What are the bits that feel really difficult and awkward? Can we work our way around them? Is it rewarding you financially enough? Are there any adjustments that we need to make there? This is something that, again, it's a big question, but it's the great thing about Retail by Design is that we have got the time and we have got the space for you to really think those thoughts, to talk to other people who maybe have been through similar things or asking themselves similar questions, to get support from our mindset coach, to make sure that you really understand the numbers, the fundamentals with our stock doctor, so that you know that you're on the right path and you've got all of the information that you need to make the decision. Because I am a really big believer in this idea that there isn't a one-size-fits-all version of success. For some people, what success looks like is going to be completely different from what success looks like for somebody else. And yet we're almost all told the same thing in terms of what success should look like. And it can be quite confusing and quite demoralizing for people who say, do you know what? I've actually done this, but I don't feel good about it and I don't know why. So we have time to examine that, to dig into the bits that you are passionate about, to understand where the things are that are maybe wearing you down, maybe identifying what support you might need to overcome those, and basically helping you fall back in love with your business and create it again in the image that you want, in aligned with what you believe success should look like, and makes it more rewarding for you, both emotionally, but also financially as well, if that's something that is contributing to the way that you're feeling about the business. These problems are incredibly common. If you're listening to any of these and feel like they resonate, then this doesn't mean that you're failing. It means that you've outgrown the level where you are running this on instinct, and what you need instead is some structure. And structure can feel like a scary word or something that might sound like it's going to be restrictive. But I honestly believe that having a structure that is designed with you in mind as the founder, that will help give you freedom. So this is exactly the work as well that we do inside Retail by Design. We have our 10th cohort for Retail by Design. We'll be kicking off shortly in the next couple of weeks. Do head over to resilientretailclub.com, take a look, and why not book in a call? It is a very relaxed opportunity to tell me more about what's going on in your business. Tell me if any of these resonated or what resonated with you or what's going on for you. And if it feels like the right fit, I'll tell you more about Retail by Design. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you next week.